This chapter will be dedicated to object mode, and in this first video we will have a look into the object mode menu here into the 3D view, so all this part there. Okay, so first of all I will just remove my cube with X, okay, and with Shift A I will just add a monkey here, and like this I will have something a little more interesting than a cube to show you all the features we will have there. So as you can see, in the beginning, we have the possibility to choose into different modes into Blender. So the first mode we will discover will be the object mode here, but for example the third chapter will be for the edit mode, and yeah, you can see there is a sculpt mode, a vertex paint, a white paint, a texture paint. So it depends the kind of object you have selected here. You can select only object mode for the camera, for example. Okay, so here, as it's a mesh, it has more options, and we will stay into object mode. So for discover this with Control Tab, you can have the same possibilities with the pie menu there. Okay, and with Tab you just come back to edit mode and come back to the last mode that you were. So here, if I'm in texture paint mode, okay, I go to texture paint, from texture paint to edit mode, and then come back to texture paint. So but if I'm in object mode, I will do the same but with edit mode. Okay, and if I'm in object mode, I will do the same with edit mode and object mode. Okay, so here into the view you will have the possibility to adjust the view like we did discover into the first chapter, how to manage your viewpoints. For example, if you want to go into the camera view, okay, you can go there, or to align the view to the active view, for example, or if you want to go to the top view. Okay, so we know already the shortcuts and we did discover that, but it can be a good reminder if you search, for example, just a shortcut here, you go into view and what is the side view already? Yeah, okay, right, numpad 3, okay, numpad 3, and I go into the side view like that. Okay, so it can be a good reminder because all the shortcuts are here and will be enabled. So interesting one to come back as a reminder. Okay, so here everything is about the viewport. Into the area you will have one that is interesting, is a toggle quad view. Here if you go there you will have the possibility to see your object into 4 different views. So you will have the top, the front and the side view, and here you can manage a free view there. Okay, so it can be interesting to work like that, because any modification you will do, if I go into edit mode for example and select a point there and move it with G like that, you can see that I will see my modifications that will appear here, here and there directly, so I can see really precisely what I do. So I just do Control Z and come back into object mode with Tab. Okay, so into this view I come back to the normal view there, but you have this possibility into area. It can be interesting. Okay, into the select you will have the possibility to select different type of objects. So for example, if you have a lot of meshes into your scene, let's say, so you have, let's say, another one again with the cone. I will show you how to manage that, because into the next video anyway we will discover all the meshes, so all the primitives. So let's say you have like these 4 meshes into your scene and you would like to select all in one click. You go into select and select by type and you select mesh and you have everything. Okay, so and it works with all the types of object that you have into Blender. So it can be interesting to manage your objects directly. Here you have the possibility to select the camera. You have the possibility to make a box select like that and to select everything inside, or to select with the circle select, okay, and to select like that. But all of these have shortcuts, and we will see this more precisely after. So you can select all, deselect all the selections are there. Here you have the add menu, and we will focus more into meshes, as I told you during this training, but we will discover others as well. But here into the next video we will see how to manage the meshes here. So this menu, you can call it with Alt A, okay, and Alt A gives you directly with Shift A, sorry. With Shift A, you have the possibility to call the menu directly into the 3D view and to add an object into your scene directly, okay? So with the menu add, you add some objects into your scene, the kind of object you will need to manage your scene. Here for the objects you will have a lot to see. For the transform values, you can move your object, rotate your object, or scale. It's with G, R, and S. There's shortcuts here, but we will have a deeper overview of all of these features later. So how to make a mirror, how to set the origin of the object. What is the origin of the object? When you select an object here, you can see that there is a little dot, a little yellow dot in the center of this object, and the center of origin is this. So you can manage the center of origin by doing some operations that will set the origin somewhere. So let's say you have the 3D cursor in the center, for example, and if you set the origin into the 3D cursor now, you can see that now if I move my object, the center of origin is here, and now if I make a rotation of this object, it will make a rotation around this center of origin. So it can be useful sometimes to manage that, okay? So set origin, it's for manage this. You will have possibility to make mirror, to duplicate the object, to join the object, to parent the objects, and this all of those relationships between objects will be covered in a full video, okay? Here you can manage the collections here, okay, and create some collections to organize well your files, and these two we will have a full video about that. For the make links to, it will be in relationships. For the quick effects, you can create some smoke or some fluid, but it will be into the chapter number 14, I think, that we will manage all these things. For the rigid body, it will be chapter 14 too, and possibility to delete your object and to convert your object into another if needed, if it's possible. Then here you have so this menu here will be available into more mode than only the object mode. If you go into, for example, into edit mode there, you will have the possibility to have this, but now we will focus into the object mode there, okay? So what this one will do, it's a transform orientation. So this one, by default, it will be the global transform orientation. So the one that you can see here, okay? If you just enable the move here, you will have the gizmo that will appear and you will have the transform orientations there, okay? But if you make a rotation of this object, okay, with R, you can see that the transform orientation doesn't move. It will stay the same because it's a global orientation of the scene. But if you take, for example, the local, it will make the local orientation of the object, and you can move like this your object with the rotation that you made, okay? So it can be interesting to manage transform orientations here with the gizmos activated there, okay? Here you will have the pivot point, so this one is important too. By default, if you select an object, it will make a rotation around here, the origin, okay? And if you take two objects with shift click, you can make a double selection, you can make a rotation about the two around a center here. Okay, so it will make an average point between the two, and you can make the rotation around the two like that. Okay, so this point, it's the median point. But if you take, for example, individual origins, you will have the possibility to make a rotation the two at once like that. Okay, or if you take here the active element, that is the last one you did selected, it will make a rotation about around the last one there. Okay, so the pivot rotation can be, the pivot point can be interesting to manage like that. Or if you take the 3D cursor that is by default in the center, it will make a rotation around the 3D cursor. Okay, 3D cursor that you can move with Control Shift right click. Okay, and with Shift C you can put it back in the center. So if you want to say, okay, I want to move my object around this point, it will make a rotation around this. Okay, and after, if you make Shift C, it will come back and make a rotation around the center here. Good, so we can manage this, and by default it's with the median point. Here you have the possibility to snap. So by default the snapping is with increment, for example, and if we take this object and move it here, you can see an incrementation by default that will come now if I move this object, and it moves the object to 1 unit by 1 unit. So here it's 1 meter by 1 meter like that. Okay, so it can be interesting. You can snap it directly with the absolute grid snap. So if you want it to be into a perfect here intersection there, you can just enable the absolute grid snap and move it, and it will be directly into this point there. You are sure that it's well in here -7 and no decimate values here. So you can enable the snapping to make, for example, an object stick to another, and this will work better if you enable the align and the project here. So if I take, for example, let's say a big cube and put it somewhere there and scale it to have a big cube there. So now if I take my Suzanne and move it, you can see that it will turn around my cube but not go inside. So it with the center of origin like this, that it works. But you can see that I cannot put my Suzanne inside. It will stay around like that and move around, but it will not go inside. But if I disable this, you can see that my Suzanne can go inside, no problem, and cross my cube. So can be interesting to manage this, to put and to kind of glue objects to others. By default, it's with incrementation, and we'll keep it like that. There we have the proportional editing that you can activate with O. The proportional editing creates a kind of influence around objects. So if you select this object, for example, and that you move it now with G, you can see a kind of circle that did appear that wasn't here before, and you can increase the size of this circle while you did start your G action. Okay. You can increase it with the scroll of the mouse, and after it makes a kind of soft influence around the object and moves the other objects like that. Okay, so can be really interesting to manage your object with this, but really the real power of this feature it's in edit mode, and we will focus with this into edit mode into the next chapter. So that's it for the object mode menu here into the 3D view. Into the next video we will have an overview of the different mesh primitives.